Hello, welcome back to News 5. The day began at the home of former President S.R. Nathan, where his body was moved and brought to Parliament House for the lying in state.
After 2 days of private mourning at his longtime home in Ceylon Road, the casket bearing the body of former President S.R. Nathan was moved to Parliament House for the lying in state. The cortege arrived at Parliament House at about 9 a.m. Coffin bearers comprising 9 officers from the Army, Navy, Air Force and Police transferred the casket to the bier for the lying in state. This was received by Speaker of Parliament, Madam Halima Yaakob. A state flag was then draped over the casket in the presence of Mr. Nathan's family, with the crescent and stars lying over the head and close to the heart. It's the highest state honor accorded to a leader. Medals representing Mr. Nathan's achievements were placed on top of the casket. They include the Order of Temasek, Public Administration Medal, Meritorious Service Medal, and Public Service Star. Vigil guards were also mounted as a special mark of respect. The Vigil Guard is performed by officers from the Army, Navy, Air Force and Police Force, each standing at a corner of the casket with his head bowed, back turned away and ceremonial sword inverted. Mr. Nathan will be accorded a state funeral on Friday.
The funeral service will be preceded by the state funeral procession, which begins at 2 p.m. from Parliament House, where the lying in state is currently being held.
The funeral cortege sets off from Parliament House, the location for the lying in state for the former President of Singapore. This is also where Mr. S.R. Nathan addressed the elected members of Parliament on 5 separate occasions during his 12-year presidency. The casket bearing the body of the former president will be put onto a ceremonial gun carriage from where it will make its final journey through the city centre. In the civic district, the procession will pass key landmarks that were significant in Mr. Nathan's career. The old City Hall, which is now part of the National Gallery. This was the former office of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, where Mr. Nathan was a pioneer in Singapore's foreign service. It was also where Mr. Nathan, during his time as Singapore's longest-serving elected president, reviewed the National Day Parade on the 3 occasions when it was staged at the Padang. Another significant landmark along the route, Fullerton Hotel, previously known as the Fullerton Building. It used to house the Marine Department, one of the predecessor organizations that merged to form the Maritime Port Authority. Mr. Nathan worked here as a welfare officer from 1956 till 1962. The cortege then passes NTUC Centre. This is the modern-day home of Singapore's labour movement, a movement which Mr. Nathan was intimately involved with during his early career. He worked at the Labour Research Unit between 1962 and 1966. The unit was an autonomous body created to help the NTUC with research and industrial negotiations. It was a time of industrial unrest and political strife, and Mr. Nathan helped NTUC overcome the challenge posed by pro-communist unions. From the city centre, the procession will pass through several residential neighbourhoods on its way to the University Cultural Centre, where the state funeral service will be held.